Coming up shortly. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, June 29th, 2021, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world, ladies and gentlemen. I know you could have been anywhere in this world, but you decided to be here with me. And I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen, on this Triple H day, hazy, hot, and humid day here in New York City. I think we had like 95, 96 degree temperatures today. So it's hot around here in New York City and across the country as well, too. So, we have a action-packed show here today. I have a special guest. We're going to bring this person on in a second. But before we do that, I always like to state my intentions for the show. And my intentions is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here today on Transition Tuesdays, each and every Tuesday. And speaking of honest conversations, on the line is my special guest. Special guest, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, my special guest is here. So I'm going to bring my special guest out the right way. I got an extensive bio that I have to read on this individual. So just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a lot of stuff. This person is doing a lot of things in this world, okay? So my special guest is originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she has lived in the Raleigh, Wake Forest area for over 18 years. While in the Wake Forest area, my guest accepted a position in the state government with the North Carolina Department of Administration. She previously served as an assistant to the Secretary for Hub Outreach, which she served for 14 years. My guest is also responsible for setting up the Office for Historical Underutilized Businesses. And also my special guest, when she left state government in 2013, she started her own consulting business, BW Wall Consulting, which specializes in public policy, business and economic development, and program development and management. She was also elected to the Wake Forest Board of Commissioners in November 2017, and she is currently the commissioner of the town of Wake Forest. Finally, she is a proud mother of a beautiful 8-year-old daughter, Lauren. And last and certainly not least, she is my cousin. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome Miss Bridget Wall-Lennon to Transition Tuesdays. Bridget, let me hold on a second. I got some claps for you. Hold on. I got to get some claps for you. There we go. What's up, cuz? How are you today?
Hey, I am doing well. Thank you so much for that very kind introduction, Russell.
You are welcome.
I appreciate that.
You are welcome. You are welcome. But there's more in store for you. This is like, Bridget, this is your life right here. Because I play theme music for my, if you're new to the show, ladies and gentlemen, I play some music for my guests. See if they can identify with these songs. Maybe these songs might conjure some great memories or what have you. So I'm going to play this song for Miss Bridget. And Bridget, I hope you like this song. Maybe you've heard of it before. I'm not sure. But I'm going to play this for you because when I hear this song, I think of you. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
1 second. Coming up. Can you hear that?
Yes, you are. We are family.
we
are family for sure.
We are family for sure, absolutely. And I think you being a Delta, isn't this one of the songs the Deltas play a lot too? We are family with the sisters, Delta sister sororities.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I got all my sisters with me. That's right.
That's true.
I am a Delta. 36 years, as a matter of fact, this year.
What was that? What'd you say?
I said 36 years as a Delta.
36 years as a Delta. Wow.
I was initiated at North Carolina A&T State University, Avenue chapter.
Man, okay, so let's talk about that first off. So the Delta. So, how's it feel being a Delta for 36 years? How does the feeling be like that for that?
It feels great. It feels like I'm still on the yard. I still with my paraphernalia. Still very active. Still very active in the community,
Uh-huh.
doing public service.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all about service, scholarship, and sisterhood. So, my
Mm.
Lion sisters and I have celebrated our Lion anniversary every year. There were 17 of us who were online, and we still talk daily, if not weekly.
Wow. Do you remember what number you were on online? Do you remember that?
Right. You can't forget that. I was like 13.
Lucky 13. Okay.
Yeah.
That
I was
is
lucky 13.
that
Yeah.
is cool. That is cool. And what was the mission statement again for the Deltas? Because I think that's a great mission statement.
Well, not necessarily as
Okay.
much mission statement as it is a tagline, but oftentimes we just kind of encapsulate what it is that we do around service
Mm-hmm.
in the community,
Mm-hmm.
scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
promoting scholarships of our collegiate sorors, and then the greater community of students to try to make them really be in tune to scholastic achievement and then sisterhood.
That is
But we
great.
have five programmatic thrusts that we focus on, from education to physical awareness and being to international involvement
Mm-hmm.
to economic development.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have quite a bit of program initiatives that we put forth on a global effort.
And we got Felicia Evans Long. She says, "Hi, Sorrow, Bridget." So yeah, we got Felicia joining us.
Hi, Felicia. Hello, Sarah.
And also, I might add, you ladies look fly in that red and white. So that too. Go along
Thank
with
you.
that.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, Bridget, I'm glad to steal a couple of minutes for you today because I know you're a busy individual. So, first question I have for you and your family is like, how are you and your family coping with these three pandemics that we're currently going through? We have COVID, which we're, slowly getting out of, and you have the economy and the social injustice in this country. So, how are you and your family coping with these three pandemics right now?
I think probably like most people,
Mm-hmm.
in particular, African Americans, I would say, for us and other individuals of color, it's been somewhat of a very heavy 15, 16 plus months.
Yeah.
Um, just dealing with some of the social injustices and unrest.
Yeah.
Protesting to raise awareness to some of the crises that we oftentimes face, to the economic challenges. Having been in a pandemic,
Yeah.
I'm a small business owner, so
Right.
was really impacted economically as a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
but also as a mother of an elementary child who was in the second grade when the pandemic hit. So
Right.
that was very challenging, trying to maneuver virtual learning,
Mm-hmm.
especially the end of her second grade year, wherein the school systems were not set up for the teachers to actually teach virtually. A lot of that fell on the parents.
Wow.
So that was a heavy lift on top of, COVID, trying to stay safe.
Yeah.
And trying to run a business and, keep your head afloat, but then
Mm-hmm.
also dealing with trying to help your child to excel in a virtual learning format.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. And I know the strain it could be on parents. Parents now became PhDs and professors, and it seemed like
Yeah.
but the stresses of that, doing that and working and taking care of the family, I could imagine that was stressful on you a little bit, correct?
It was very stressful. I had a couple of posts or blogs, if you would, on my Facebook page, oftentimes talking about Mrs. Mama's classroom and just some of the challenges of being a mom, but yet,
Yeah.
being the cafeteria lady,
Mm-hmm.
being the superintendent, the principal, the teacher, the cleanup lady.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I think very early on, I just would allow us to take mental breaks and just, I think it was difficult because the way that the teachers, the curriculum is set up now is not necessarily the type of strategies we were taught. Oftentimes joke and say, we were taught to carry the one and borrow the one.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Mathematics. And that's just not how they, do it. And so that was kind of difficult, trying to teach a technique that you may not have known or been familiar with.
Right.
But Lauren and I made the best of the situation. We took quite a bit of field trips down to the creek.
Wow.
Went to Walmart and bought fishing rods and went fishing at the reservoir. And just would take mental breaks and just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
that was an opportunity, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
to do some life skills type of learning. We
Yeah.
went in an RV
Mm-hmm.
last summer, went on a road trip.
Wow.
So I just kind of tried to complement some of the challenges that we both were having
Mm-hmm.
with some life experiences.
So Bridget, I've known you for years. Being my cousin. Or I didn't know about you. I didn't know you knew how to fish. Wait a second. You didn't do that when I came down to Charlotte. To visit with you. What's going on with that?
We didn't go to any fishing holes, as
Right.
our grandparents probably would say.
Right.
But desperate times call for desperate measures, and we were somewhat desperate during COVID to find something to do to get outside the house.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, Bridget, you talk about motherhood. So, talk to us a little bit about the toughest job you have, which is being a mom. How has being a mom changed your life?
Yeah. I would say, Bridget would say that is probably one of the most difficult transitions.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, it was because I was pretty well set professionally, career-wise,
Mm-hmm.
when I ended up having a child. So I oftentimes would joke and say, tell folks that we were modern-day Sarah and Abraham because we had Lauren later in life.
Uh-huh.
And so just, having a newborn at such a later point in my career
Mm-hmm.
was an adjustment in itself.
Right.
But you make adjustments and you just do the best you can do. But yeah, that has been a transition. It's a lot to kind of juggle between being a mom and then working, trying to position yourself and keep yourself positioned career-wise and professionally.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the toughest job you love. You know what I mean? That's that's how I am as a parent as well. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah. Hey, so Bridget, yeah. So Bridget, you alluded to it. You went to North Carolina A&T State University. What are they the Aggies?
Yes,
Okay.
Aggie Pride worldwide, Aggie Pride nationwide. Yes, that's
Whoa, okay. Look at that, See, all right. So talk to us a little bit, Bridget, if you would, about your experience attending a prestigious HBCU. How was it for you?
Well, it was a great experience. So my mom, which is your cousin,
that's right,
said to all of her children, my brothers and my sister and I, that we all had to go to college.
Yep.
She actually wanted us to go away from home so that we could experience being on our own and experience a sense of independence. But she didn't want us to be too far where she couldn't get to us.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So she, kind of said that she thought I had really great math aptitudes and felt that I would do good as an engineer. Now, I will say, back in I didn't really know what an engineer was. I'm almost ashamed to say. I told her, Mommy, I don't want to be an engineer on a choo-choo train.
I was thinking that way too, Bridget.
I mean, honestly speaking, we didn't have a lot of peers.
Yeah.
And folk in our inner and most outer circle that were in the engineering profession. That's the only thing I knew of as an engineer. And so, in a very coy way, she was like, "You need to go to the library and look up what engineers do." And which I did. And but I loved chemistry, so I initially wanted to study chemical engineering. But North Carolina A&T, they have a chemical engineering program. I think they were starting one like the first year that I would be coming in, and so I initially wanted to go to South Carolina State.
Okay.
And that was squished because she's like, we're not paying out of state tuition. We can go to Greensboro. And so I ended up at A&T. I studied industrial engineering, which is the broadest of the engineering disciplines. So I took just as many mechanical engineering courses as I did industrial.
Okay.
Took quite a few electrical, but you also take quite a few business and economic type of courses as well when you study in industrial engineering. You just want to be able to go into any type of setting whether it's a manufacturing environment or a business environment, company-wise, and see what you can do to make things more efficient and more effective. And so that was kind of how I ended up in industrial engineering. And I think I had the best of both worlds at A&T. A&T is the top producer of Black engineers in the country.
Really? Didn't know that. Fun fact, you learned here first on Transition Tuesdays. Okay, good stuff. Bridget, keep going.
And then just that experience of being in the HBCU from, just the flight time friends that you make and homecoming and the band and the parades and just again, have an opportunity to pledge a sorority or a fraternity, and as I indicated, my sorority, my line sisters and I, the young ladies that I pledged with, we, have been each other's bridesmaids, maids of honor.
Wow.
Lauren's one of her godmothers was my line sister.
Wow.
We've been at each other's weddings. We've been there for divorces, for loss of parents, and so that was one of the best decisions I feel that I could have made based on my mom just kind of laying the foundation to say, I think this is the direction in which you should go.
Yeah. What do you think? Are there any things that HBCUs, your particular HBCU, has taught you? It seems like it's taught you many different things.
It has. I think two things that were, I would say, that was somewhat disappointing in that is to have gotten to A&T, and I guess I was thinking that we would have more African American professors, but we did not have. That was not the case.
Okay.
We had quite a few, foreigners
Okay.
who were our professors. And I don't mean that in a negative or derogatory way, in that I just was not expecting that. I just thought since I was going to go HBCU, I would have more African American instructors that might, have that cultural identity. But then there was a language barrier also. So that was kind of difficult, coming, having foreign teachers for the first time, where the accent, you may have had a difficult time really understanding what they were trying to convey. And then the second disappointment was that even though North Carolina A&T had a really good career center and had a lot of corporations that came to the university, I like a lot of college students, you go out of college and you think you're gonna get this like pie in the sky type of job.
Yeah.
And this kind of falls into, how sometimes you've got to transition when things don't necessarily work out the way that you thought that they would. And that's what, happened with me. I didn't immediately have a job right off the bat, after that when I came out of college, like so many other graduates. And so that was a hard transition to kind of feel a little bit let down that you've got this engineering degree and then you come out and you don't immediately get a job in your field. So it took a while for me to kind of transition and land that type of industrial engineering position that I thought I wanted. And then honestly speaking, it was in a manufacturing environment, which I thought I really, really would like, but then I realized after working with, in manufacturing with machines that was not my best fit. My best fit was working more, in a setting with people more so than like machine utilization and, production lines and things of that sort. So I eventually transitioned to something that I thought was a little more in line with, what I really wanted to do. More so in terms of working with, in industry.
Yeah. Like you said, Bridget, which, I deal a lot of times with student athletes. Me as a former student athlete, that transition from going from being a student athlete to a career is a tough one, because again, it's things that you're not really expecting certain things. So I'm making this my lifelong mission to help those student athletes, like myself, who had no clue once I graduated college how was I going to make the smooth transition to career. So yeah, it's a great point that you mentioned there, Bridget. No doubt about that. Yep, no doubt about that. Yeah. Yeah. So Bridget, let's talk a little bit about your role as commissioner of the town of Wake Forest. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? What that might entail by chance? Or
sure. Okay. So I served when I worked in state government. I served in an appointed role under three different governors, and in that sense, you serve at the pleasure of that particular administration.
Okay.
And so I, had several years under my belt, but interestingly enough, even though I thought when I came out of school I'd work for like some major corporation, I ended up actually working in public sector. And so when I left state government, to me it was kind of like the next thing after having been appointed, office or to a role within state government. Then the next step in my mind was, okay, consideration to run for elected office. And so that's how that ended up happening. Is interesting. I tell the story that we were having, our sorority was having a what we call chat and chew program. We'll go around to the different municipalities in our area to say, hey, our chapter, Nightdale Wake Forest Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, we're in this service area. We service Wake Forest, Nightdale, and some of the other smaller surrounding communities. And this is what we do. These are some of our programs. And so we actually had gone to the town of Wake Forest and talked about some of our programs, and we're meeting with some of the officials and town management staff.
Okay.
And the seed planted at that particular meeting for me to consider running for commissioner. And so, yeah, I put my name in the hat and filed. I went home and thought on it, prayed on it, and as young folks say, marinated on it. And decided that I would run for office, and I actually ended up filing around July this time, in July, and then the election was in November.
I like the way that sounds, Commissioner Bridget. I like that. I like the way that sounds.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And in that role, we, as commissioners, along with the mayor, set policy for the town, and kind of help steer the direction in which the town is going. With a lot of development issues, development, cases that may come before us for the, development, community plans, program initiatives that you might want to see in the town. So those are some of the things that we kind of spearhead. So yeah.
Good stuff.
So I'll just say very quickly a program initiative that I was able to spearhead, which was just, really in great timing, I would think, although it was just unfortunate that we had to do it, but it was a COVID vaccination clinic that I facilitated and kind of used a community-based approach wherein I engaged the town of Wake Forest, a minority-owned healthcare provider, which was a Black female-owned company who actually has community health workers, and they administered the vaccinations. They had 500 doses of vaccinations that we administered, and we were in the heart of community, and we had a neighborhood-led organization, Northeast Community Coalition, a coalition of resource organizations, churches, etc. And we did a drive-through, a mobile vaccination, but we also set out 100 plus vaccinations for walk-ups, and we were able to actually go and canvas and knock on doors in the community to say, hey, we're going to be here on Saturday giving out vaccinations, and we had a food drive as well, where we were able to give food to individuals who may have needed food. It was a really, really good community-led event, and so I was glad to have been able to represent so many, I wore a lot of hats that day. Let me just say that. I wore my, town, elected officials hat. I wore my Delta Sigma Theta hat. I wore my small, minority-owned business hat. So yeah.
Wow, that's good. So was it a great turnout on that event? Because that sounds like a great event to spearhead.
It was. We had a very, very short window to put it together. I think less than a week we may have gotten final say-so from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services that we were actually going to be able to get the vaccines. Okay. We got that word on a Sunday, and then we had the vaccination clinic that following Saturday. Wow. So I moved, expeditiously between the town staff, from making sure that our officers were out there to direct traffic, to the community coalition organizations, getting the word out, to vaccination providers, getting the vaccines and getting the volunteer nurses to be on site and set up, and having a staging area and all that. So it was very fulfilling. What was interesting is that at the end of the day, and I think we must have started around 8 or 9 o'clock, finished up about 5, and we literally had one vaccine left. One. Wow. And I ran across the street and was able to find someone in the neighborhood that I, was able to convince and say, hey, won't you come in? We got this one last dose left. Why don't you come in and get the vaccine? And she did.
Wow. Man, that is amazing. Well, Bridget, like I told you earlier, this is like kind of like this is your life, right? So I'm looking here. We got Kim checking in with us, cousin Kim, and we got cousin Tracy joining us here today. So that is cool. My cousins here joining us. I'm talking to my cousin Bridget here. Man, and you know what, Bridget? I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I remember vividly going down to Charlotte, North Carolina, visiting you guys. And the one thing I remember two things about that, Bridget, when I used to make the trip, and I used to enjoy it every time. First thing I remember, my dad used to like drive down the block of your grandma, Maya and Mary,
Uh-huh.
and like,
Yeah.
in his car, and all the kids would come running, to see my dad's car and to see us too. But they were more important. They were more interested in seeing that Cadillac that my dad drove every year down
Yes.
down the
Oh my
block.
God.
He'll
We
zoom.
thought y'all was something else.
Yeah,
Hello, cousin Tracy and cousin Kim.
yes, yes. He'll zoom down the block. So I remember that. But you know what else I remember too, Bridget? And I was talking to our cousin Ricky about this the other day. I remember when I used to go down there, we used to go to the dollar movies, like the kung fu movies. And I remember we used to
Yeah.
all go see it, and we used to come out we acting like we're Bruce Lee coming out and like fighting each other. I remember that to this
Yeah.
day. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Over there in Dilworth.
In Dilworth, that's right.
Um,
Absolutely. For those
and now
dollar movies.
that was your great grandmother.
Yep.
But it's I'm sorry, it's my great grandmother, but it
Right.
was your grandmother.
Correct.
The movie theater was right down the street.
Yes. Yes, I remember that. Yup, and I remember hanging out with you, Bridget, Kim and Tracy, all you ladies protected me, you know what I mean? Because I was a knucklehead. So you guys shielded me with the nonsense. So I appreciate that.
Well, we were always really excited when you all came home.
Yeah.
We thought you all were a big time coming down from New York.
Right.
Uncle Ellis had
Yep.
bravado way back. He had swag before we knew what swag was.
That's right? Yeah, yep. Except 1 year though, Bridget. I remember my dad came down there and he got a Jerry curl. I remember that to this day. he,
Yeah.
he didn't have the swag that day.
Yeah, he did have a Jerry curl, but it was okay. He still was in the Cadillac, and
Yep.
I'll never forget. He had your name every time. He'd have your name on the back of his tag.
Yep. Yes.
Your number.
Yep. I lucked out. Yeah, I lucked out. The DMV picked. They just happened to pick my name. We put our names and numbers in a hat type of deal, and the DMV picked it. So yeah, I was lucky. Shout out to DMV on that.
That's great.
Oh man. Hey, so Bridget, you talked about it earlier. You talked about you're a small business owner. So talk to us about BL Wall Consulting. Talk to us a little bit about that. The services you provide, and do you have to be a resident of North Carolina to take advantage of your company services as well?
Well, no, definitely not.
Okay,
So I
good.
pretty much specialize in the work in the space around supply diversity.
Okay.
And so, probably, we've started to hear a lot more about diversity, equity, and inclusion, DE&I.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times diversity, equity, and inclusion will either be on the vendor supply base side, where you're trying to make sure you have a diverse supply chain of businesses that provide goods and services or that do construction, or you might be in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space around HR, making sure that you have a diverse workforce, and that you're promoting diverse individuals within the company.
Okay.
And so for the most part, BL Wall Consulting specializes on the side of the house that deals with vendors. So I would say I've cut my teeth on program development, meaning developing programs for businesses, corporations, organizations where they want to have a minority and women business or small business program where they focus on trying to have a diverse chain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you expend a certain amount of money, that there's an intentional effort to spend money with minority-owned businesses. It's interesting because we're starting to see a lot of this now within the past year or so. Reckoning of what happened with George Floyd, and just some of the uncivil arrest that has taken place. Mm-hmm. And so, you've seen a lot of more emphasis around diversity. But I've been in that line, in this space for 30 years, working to set up programs that actually was responsible when I went to the state of North Carolina to set up the Office for Historically Underutilized Businesses, which advocated for minority businesses in state government to try to make sure that we had policies and program initiatives put in place to help these businesses identify contracting opportunities with the various state agencies. It also included our community colleges, our public schools, and our state universities. And so I've just been able to parlay that experience into my own company and now do that as a consultant for businesses as well as corporations.
That is super, Bridget. That's so good. So, Bridget, how were you able to transition from being, state government worker to running your very own consulting company? How was the transition for you on that?
The transition was very brutal.
Could imagine.
It was brutal in that. Oftentimes, I always, kind of, when I talk about business consulting and, talk about when people go into business, some people go into business because they have retired and, they want to just kind of continue doing a profession that they had done for so many years. Some people go into business because it's, it's a hobby, something that they really liked and enjoyed and they did it as a hobby. And now, take that step to say, I'm going to do this as a business. And then some folks go into business out of necessity.
Yes.
Because something happens and then you've got to sustain yourself. And that's literally what happened to me. I share that story, oftentimes when I can, to say that it's a testament to one's perseverance to go to work one morning and you're home that afternoon because you've had a change in administration. And, that happens.
Yeah. And
so I did like a lot of business owners do. I got to my dining room table, which doubled as my conference table, and I started doing my certification. A lot of times, there are certification programs out here where companies get certified as minority or woman-owned business so that you can get in a respective, organization's database. So if they're looking for someone to do whatever it is they're looking for, oftentimes they'll look within that database. So I, did that, but I think I was able to make that transition as quickly as I was because I'm a third-generation entrepreneur.
Right.
As you know, my grandfather owned a business called Wall Trucking and Delivery.
Yep.
And so it was a family-owned and operated business. He and my grandmother ran that company. My mom worked in the company, as did my Aunt Renelle, Tracy's mother, Tracy, our cousin Tracy, who's on the call now. We all worked in it. I worked in it during the summer.
Wow.
And, we have 4th of July, cookout is coming up. Well, my grandfather actually started that 4th of July cookout that we've held.
Wow.
From,
Didn't know that.
He started that for his employees and for for their families. And so we've just kind of carried it on, just try to keep that legacy going. So he started it over 40 years ago.
Wow.
4th of July cookout. At my grandmama's house that you all would come when my dad would come home.
Right.
And so,
wow.
So in any event, it was, so, and then my mother had a traveling agency and a bus touring company. And then here I was, I started my first official business, if you will, 6 months before I got out of college at my dining room table, my kitchen table in my apartment in college. And but now I will say I've always had a side hustle. I've always had a little side gig.
Yep.
So, lemonade in the front yard. So when that situation happened, and Lauren, my daughter, had not even turned 1. She was turning 1 at the end of the week. She hadn't even turned 1 yet. And in a situation like that, you do what you got to do to sustain yourself. And so I got out here, and this time I was on the other side of the desk, the proverbial desk. Times before, I was a practitioner, a program administrator on one side of the desk. The next day, I was a business owner, a vendor on the other side of the desk. But luckily, I knew how to maneuver that system. And was able, to connect dots. I mean, it took a while to get the business really up and going. It took years for me to really, because I think all the times when you say that you do consulting, people means, they'll look at that kind of in a negative way, and other times it can mean you're in between gigs.
Yeah.
So you're doing consulting work.
Yeah.
It means you're in between, like trying to find your next real full-time something or another. And so it took a really long time for me to establish what my practice area would be, and to really be able to sell myself and say, this is what I do, and this is what I'm good at doing, and this is how much it would cost for me to do ABC, and this is what I can do for your company, and this is, so it took some years to build it up.
Cool. No, that's good stuff. Very good stuff. Hey, Bridget, I got 3 more questions for you, and then I'm gonna have you come up. I'm gonna let you go. But what do you have any words of advice for women out there who might be listening today who were told no when pursuing their dreams to their career paths? Do you have any words of advice for those people?
Well, you're gonna get a lot of no's before you get a lot of yeses.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah, and so I oftentimes just kind of keep in the back of my mind. I was a Mary Kay consultant.
Oh, okay.
And I just kind of liked the business model that Mary Kay had. God first, and family second, and career third. And so I always talked about how it was, that you were going out. And I remember cousin Kim started out. She was the first Mary Kay consultant in our family that I knew about. And, she was selling lipstick. And so I just learned a lot of techniques about warm chatter, how you kind of like chat somebody up to kind of break the ice and then gradually lead into what it is that you're trying to sell. So you'll get a lot of no's, and you just have to have that perseverance and just say, okay. And then, some no's might be a good no.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Yeah. It was interesting because our pastor preached on this Sunday. Preached on it this Sunday about thanking God for prayers that he didn't answer. And so some prayers that we prayed, some, positions that we wanted to be in, that no was probably a good no. Like that was not the situation we needed to be in.
Yeah. And, I heard somebody talk about this. They said the word no, they broke that down. Acronym could be new opportunity. That no, so
right.
Yeah, so that might be that situation as well. No. Hey, so Bridget, I got 2 more questions for you, then I'll get you out. But what does Bridget like to do for fun when she's not saving the world? Because you do save the world here, Bridget. I'm gonna let people know out here. But what do you like doing for fun, Bridget?
Well, I love to travel.
Okay.
And so I'm always looking for my next adventure. And so I think, people say that I do a lot of stuff with Lauren, but I think Lauren is, she's the benefactor of my excitement. She's a good sidekick. And so,
right.
I love to travel. I love adventure. I like to go camping. We've been camping twice already this year.
Wow. Okay.
And so we stayed in a log cabin. And then a couple of weeks, we went back and we stayed in actual tents, pitched tents, and stayed in those, and cooked on the open fire. And so I enjoy doing that. I enjoy cooking, and I enjoy spending time with friends and family. I love it. Like I'm really looking forward to our family gathering, getting together this 4th of July.
Yeah, I could imagine.
We're gonna host it at my mom's house, and I'm just I think we've been shut in for so long. It's like that excitement of being able to get out, outdoors, was to be able to social distance. But pretty much most of us have had our vaccines, vaccinations, and so I enjoy just laughing and having a good time talking with friends.
Yeah, you do. You're the great planner. I remember during this COVID, I remember last year, my mom, she still talks about it, Bridget, how we had the Zoom, for Christmas Eve, which was great. We played the great games. You organized that. My mom had a blast. She still talks about that to this day.
Yes, I love doing stuff like that. I love planning stuff.
Right. Yeah, you are the ultimate planner. So, Bridget, last question. I'm going to get you out on this one. Now, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm anxious to hear your answer to this. So, who was the most famous person you have the opportunity to meet? And when you met this person, were you able to have a brief conversation with this person? But who was that famous person that you had the opportunity to meet? I think I know the answer to this, but I want to hear what you might say.
Well, let me just say, you're talking about the most recent famous person I've had the opportunity to meet.
Yes, I am. Yep.
President Joe Biden.
Oh,
President Joe Biden.
yes,
And
yes.
so
How was that experience?
it was exciting. It really was. It was exciting. It was a small audience, and the governor was there, and our secretary for Health and Human Services, the EPA administrator, who happens to also be an Aggie. And so it was really good. And I did have a chance to just, have a really quick one-on-one conversation with him. And I shared with him in my conversation that Lauren, I said to him, I said, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and when she found out that the children who were 12 years old were able to get their vaccinations, she said to me, Mom, when will I be able to get mine? Wow. And I shared that with the president, and he was like, well, she'll be able to get one. And so he actually, but of course, it hasn't been approved for her age group. But he turned to his assistant and told his assistant to take my phone number down. And I was just like stunned, like, oh my gosh. And so, and I don't know if it was probably kind of loud, and so I don't know if he fully, heard the age,
right?
Whatever. But anyway, he, so when he, went on, I told that I was telling his assistant that, and I said, well, can you go and I want the president to send a message to my daughter. And I gave them my invitation I had printed out for me to get in, my security clearance stuff and everything. And he took it back to the president, and he sent a message to my daughter.
Wow, that is so cool, man. That's typical Joe Biden. Man, that is super, man. Oh man. Wow.
I've had an opportunity, to meet, different people, and I will say one that was really, really amazing to me. And I was a collegiate at this time. It was through Delta, and we were having an international conference, and I had a chance to meet Dr. Betty Shabazz, who was the wife of Malcolm X.
Wow, how was that experience?
It was mind blowing because, like I said, I was a collegiate. She was a Delta, and we were actually in the Bahamas for our sorority's first international conference, and we were on a small chartered bus headed to the governor's mansion in the Bahamas, and there for tea, and she was on the bus, so we were there together. At the time, I was a regional officer for the sorority.
Okay.
And I marveled at, I just couldn't believe it, that I was here in the presence and had a chance to talk with Dr. Betty Shabazz.
Man,
so, yeah,
that is amazing, man. Oh man, Bridget, hon, my cuz, I had a great time with you coming on. I know you're a busy person, and one thing I want to take this time, Bridget, to really thank you on a matter which you probably even know what I'm about to talk about, but I have to thank you on this. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share this with you. So this was during a time in which I was married, and I was, going through some things, and next thing you know, I get like a random text message from my cousin Bridget. And my cousin Bridget, is very, to herself type of person. So when I got this text message, my cousin Bridget just told me, she just said, Russ, I don't reach out. I don't get into people's business, but I'm just checking on you just to see that you're okay. And Bridget, I just want to thank you for doing that, because that meant a lot to me when you did that. You took your time to do that to me, and that was beneficial to me. So I didn't get a chance to actually thank you. So I just want the personal thank you, for that, because I really needed that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's what we got to do. We got to check on one another and be there for one another and encourage and inspire one another. So, when you see that somebody's going through something, or if you think it, without being intrusive, I just always try to extend myself, because, I think that's one of the most difficult things to do, is to accept help.
Yeah.
When you are in time and need, because, pride, or you're strong, or this and other. But sometimes when you're going through, sometimes you can't even pray for yourself. You just need other people to pray through that situation, or for people to hold you up and, provide a sense of, kind of undergird you. And I kind of knew, I could sense that something.
I know you could. Yup. Yeah.
And say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here if you need me.
Now, I appreciate that, Bridget, to this day. So I just want to personally thank you on that. And it's fitting I played the song "We Are Family," because that's what we do. That's what families do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They reach out and they help one another. So
and I'm gonna tell you, family, I don't know what I was thinking, but I done went and got pure tea dressed up. I got on lipstick, makeup, eyeshadow, the whole nine.
I know. I want to have my guest on camera, you know, on video. But I don't know. Some with Facebook, they don't allow that. But I felt that. I felt your hair. You know, I felt how you got all did up. I felt it through the screen. I can feel it. I know you did it. I know you did it the Delta way. I know.
I have so enjoyed talking to you. I just want to congratulate you on your run for Transition Tuesday.
Thank you, Bridget.
You know, bring a plethora of information to the forefront for all your guests and your speakers.
Thank you.
I, laud you as being an author, and I would just say to you that your dad, my Uncle Ellis, would be so very proud of you, and we are proud of you.
Thank you so much, Bridget. I appreciate you, hon. Love you, cuz. And again, I got to have you back on again. Maybe we'll go fishing or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, we can make that happen.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Bridget. Love you, hon. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Oh, that was Bridget Wall-Lennon. Oh, man. Really break it. I mean, she's doing some phenomenal things, meeting phenomenal people. And she's a phenomenal woman. So glad to have my cuz on. So glad to call her cuz as well, too. Man. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, and think, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. As I am going to play my theme music to head us out of here. Get us out. Here we go. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, amazing show today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Transition Tuesdays. I appreciate you watching each and every Tuesday. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much. And you can watch our show, Transition Tuesdays, on our YouTube channel, especially known as Transition Tuesdays. So when you're on the YouTube channel, you can always like and subscribe when you're there. So make sure you do that before you leave the channel. I would really appreciate you do that. You can also follow me on Instagram or IG, like the young kids say, at rworldtransitions. That's rworldtransitions with an S. So follow me there. And a major shout out to my special guest, Bridget Wall-Lennon. Okay? Now, this is new, what I'm about to tell you guys, but this is new. So Bridget will be receiving a candy gift pack from our sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe, located in downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. They ship Southern sweetness at sweetcandycafe.com. That's sweetcandycafe.com. Because here on Transition Tuesdays, we love our small businesses, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless you all.